everyone. Welcome to episode of Movie for Thoughts. Today we're going to be discussing SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water. It's a 2015 3D movie that came out. It was really good. It reimagined the traditional SpongeBob episodes. Why don't you give us a quick synopsis?
So basically we have our main characters, there's SpongeBob, the fry cook, the yellow sponge living in a pineapple under the sea. Then there's Mr. Krabs, who's a crab, his employer. We have Plankton, which is a small, tiny green sea creature who's rivals with Mr. Crab. Patrick Star, SpongeBob's best friend. Sandy the squirrel, who's a genius squirrel that somehow lives under the sea as well. And we have Squidward, who's SpongeBob's neighbor and co-worker. So basically the synopsis is Plankton, like always, like in most of the show, he's trying to steal the secret formula for the Krabby Patty. What Mr. Krabs sells the best. It's what makes him a living, But in this time, Plankton comes up with an elaborate plan, and he has a full-scale military invasion of the Krusty Krab, which is the restaurant where they hold the secret formula to the Krabby Patty. And just as we think he's gonna fail, like every single time, he manages to steal the secret formula. But again, there's mysterious powers, right? Different factors that have come into the equation. Plankton has stole the formula, but there's a pirate above the seas who used magic to then make the secret formula disappear into his own hands. And now SpongeBob, the fry cook, needs to team up with Plankton because SpongeBob saw the secret formula disappear into thin air when the pirate used magic to steal it. So he's the only one who believes Plankton, and the whole Bikini Bottom turns on them, and now they have to team up together and use teamwork to get the secret formula back.
That's a great synopsis. We urge you that if you haven't watched the movie yet, first of all, you're missing out. You should definitely go and check it out. It's a really, really good movie. I personally enjoyed it myself. I thought it was really funny. And I thought it was a great way to reimagine a SpongeBob movie, like a way to give the viewers something new out of the regular SpongeBob episodes. Also, it was just funny to see SpongeBob actually out of the water on land and people's reactions to it and the whole superhero saga and everything. So I think it was definitely really nice. I liked it. I know there was definitely some critics that said that it was just a way for the franchise to refresh itself because it was getting dull. But I personally think that they did a great job. What do you think?
I mean, a lot of things you said I agree with. Like, for example, SpongeBob going out to the water. It's a 3D movie. But, it's not only him going out to the water. We get to see him interact with, real-life humans. Yes, there's animations, classical cartoon drawings in Bikini Bottom. But when he goes out to the water, which is part of the plot, because the pirate is above the water, we see real humans. It's kind of reality shattering, kind of breaking the fourth wall. But honestly, I don't think it was just a way to refresh the franchise. I mean, I think there's always been SpongeBob movies, even since the 1990s, early in the show. So I think it's just something that Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Studios like to do. Mm-hmm. And I just really like SpongeBob movies because the show is funny. The show is the original, but it's just a 20-minute episode. This is over an hour and a half of SpongeBob content that has been more carefully looked over since it's a movie and it's actually going in theaters, so it's a great as a production, but we need to talk about the plot more, because the plot more is something amazing, and if you watch the movie, even as an adult, it'll capture your mind because it's brilliant. Mm-hmm. The opening scene where Plankton has this full-scale military invasion of the Krusty Krab. What do you think of it?
I think first of all, it was definitely it was different, but it was still on the same frequency of what Plankton would usually do. Because I paralleled it to the part or the time where he took mind controlled the entire city and used it to basically take over. And I think that obviously it's just part of Plankton's antics, just try and steal the secret formula. I think it was definitely very funny because you see them battling with food and ketchup bottles and
it actually looks military.
It does, yeah.
There's a tank that fires jars of mustard, anti-aircraft weapons. like cargo planes that are painted green, like Plankton, but also like military planes are green. So it was a very fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I think it just emphasized the struggle and the battle that Plankton is just waging to take over like the secret recipe. But I think that what really obviously we know what made it different, that this time he actually succeeded. That he actually got his hand on the secret formula, but then we see the magical element where the secret formula disappeared, and now we go into the actual movie. But besides like that, like funny like start, right, and the whole premise of the movie, I feel like like you said, the plot is also what took a twist, especially in the unusual dynamic between SpongeBob and Plankton. Like you wouldn't usually see this, like this rare moment of teamwork. How does it like affect the movie? What do you think?
I mean, it's something that we've like never ever seen before in the show, to my knowledge. But it's kind of weird because like I said, we've never seen this before. It's something new. We're pushing it to the limit, to the edge, and so as the viewer, you're just hooked to the stream, trying to see what happens next. Because it's not like all of a sudden Plankton decided to become best friends with SpongeBob. Yes, he knew he had to work with him to get the secret formula back, but like he was still Plankton. He was still like a very sarcastic creature, scoffing and always making fun of SpongeBob. But eventually, that's gonna change slowly. And I actually have a analogy for this. Imagine it's World War II, and this Nazi pirate just stole the secret formula.
An analogy, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's roll with it. And the U.S. SpongeBob has to team up with Plankton, the Soviet Union, to fight this common enemy, and that's really the whole premise of the movie. And it's a difficult relationship. Like it takes effort, but it's very interesting, and they even have whole songs about it, which is part of the entertainment as well. I mean, like, what do you think about how it compare like? What do you think of how it first started and then how it ended?
I think that we saw a lot of change throughout the movie. I think we saw a lot of sides that we never thought we would actually see. Like going back to like the teamwork you were talking about. I mean, I understand the analogy between like the U.S. and the Soviet Union, but like you also saw things where like SpongeBob, right, being with Plankton, developed Plankton as a character. He wasn't just this antagonist that's just there for like laughs and giggles, to trying to steal the formula but always failing. But it also showed a deeper side to Plankton and developing him on a more personal level. And I think that's what like throughout the movie kind of made him relatable. So he goes from being this annoying sea creature that's never gives up to being someone that like you could actually relate with. And then you can also see throughout the show as well, you see like it going from like a city to now being like a post-apocalyptic like hellhole, for lack of better words, because of a secret recipe. Like to me it's a bit weird. It was like there was like too much going on, because it's like, like the recipe disappears and then everything goes to hell, but then you see SpongeBob and Plankton trying to team up to restore order, basically, which is a bit weird because you would never think of like Plankton as like restoring order or whatever. But I think it just throughout the show it was trying to just emphasize a message of teamwork. And from the very start, it was more or less just a regular SpongeBob episode of just being very like childish and being very repetitive, to then taking us on a journey, teaching the viewer the importance of teamwork, and then at the end it goes to us like appreciating each character's more like personally. Right, because I remember afterwards when I watched the SpongeBob episode and I looked at Plankton, I never really just saw him as the silly antagonist anymore. I kind of saw him as like someone that's deeper, that's just misunderstood.
Do you know what I'm saying? A human, I mean, maybe not a human, but like definitely like more emotional depth, like a person. Let's think of it this way. I mean, the show personifies these sea creatures anyway, so it's not that weird to say.
No.
But and it's just teamwork. Like, for example, in the song, there's no I in team. And Plankton, like an example of his development, like I just want to pull out examples here and there. Like at first he wasn't singing along, but then he did start singing, and then he was really enthusiastic about it. And I think I just wanted to comment on like the impact that we have on others as well, because yes, the movie's like central theme is about teamwork and like teaming up to fight a common enemy, I guess, but like there's also something about like spreading positive energy around, because Plankton didn't like go along with the whole teamwork thing until like SpongeBob like kept spread, like SpongeBob never faltered in spreading that positive energy. He just kept going, and it really shows us the effect that we have on others and why we should always be nice to people and empathetic and have that kind of sympathy, you know. But I mean, so main themes being teamwork and spreading that positive energy, but like there's also like other themes as well, and I wouldn't say central themes to the story, but let's say in the way that the developers, Paramount and Nickelodeon, like made this movie. Like it's all very absurd, kind of like almost like hallucinatory. Like what do you think about like there's time travel, there's a dolphin in the middle of outer space, and yes, that sounds confusing on purpose. There's a dolphin in the middle of outer space with lasers. Like what? What do you think about that?
I think all these like weird elements or different elements was to kind of add to the comedic atmosphere of the show, because obviously they're exploring a different field they haven't done before. 3D, this is out of water, this is like in the space of humans, and so they're still trying to figure out a way to like keep the humoristic aspect of SpongeBob with the more realistic vibe that's going on. So I think like you're talking about, the dolphin in outer space is a bit weird. I never understood it. To me, it was funny because like the guy was, or whatever, the dolphin was always just like stuttering, and then he had to use the bathroom for some reason, and then
the whole world like
collapses. To me, it was very funny, but like at the same time, it was a bit random. I understand that, but like I guess it then begs the question of like, is there like a shift? Is there like a shift in like jokes compared to like the classical SpongeBob episodes, and like how effective was it in the movie? What do you think?
To be honest, I feel like the traditional SpongeBob episodes, I mean, I haven't watched the first 2 seasons of SpongeBob in a while, because like they're not even available anymore, but they're absolute gold. Like if anyone could find them, they should watch them. But like I feel like recently, like, or just traditionally, like SpongeBob jokes are very sarcastic in nature, and that's kind of different than absurd, because I mean SpongeBob kind of like the show kind of touches on different like mental disorders, and that's a whole other conspiracy theory in the SpongeBob realm, and so it kind of plays on that. It's sarcastic, it's kind of making fun of characters like SpongeBob and Patrick Star, but here I feel as if the comedy at least is derived from like more absurd situations, which is a movie that kids will not go to by themselves, because they probably need like a parent accompanying them, and so there's also an adult audience to it. This isn't just like a kid sitting in his room watching Netflix on his iPad or on a TV back then, but like it's just for a wider audience, which is why there's kind of not allusions, but certain references to pop culture, to history, to politics, which is why the shift in comedy is kind of different. And I actually like that, because after a while, the recent SpongeBob jokes will get kind of boring because they're all the same.
You see, I completely agree with that like aspect. I feel like after a while, like the whole premise of the jokes and everything of the SpongeBob movies, episodes or a cartoon, like I guess they get a little bit repetitive. They get a little bit tiring. And then we also have to understand that most SpongeBob fans or longtime SpongeBob fans, like they eventually grow up and they eventually stop watching the SpongeBob cartoons and everything. So then that begs the question: is this movie more appealing to longtime fans or maybe to the new generation of kids?
I mean, why not both? To be honest, because like because like probably used to watch SpongeBob as a kid, and maybe now. I mean, SpongeBob came out in the 1990s, so if you're like around 8 years old, then like you probably have if you are married with kids, you probably have toddlers by 2015 or something. That's they'd be middle aged, like 35. So I feel like while it is primarily a kids movie and it's for the kids currently watching SpongeBob and for new audiences, like why not both? Like it's also for the adults. I mean, movies have a wide target range of audience. Because if they just focus on one thing, it's probably not going to be as fun. And if they did focus on one thing, we probably wouldn't even be talking about the movie. So
yeah, I agree with you completely. I think that they made the movie as a way to obviously like broaden like the aspect of how like where cartoons are going. Because at this point, I think like most cartoons had a movie, and it was becoming like a huge thing in the culture in the film space. So I think they were broadening like their environment to include like to expand into that space. But I think they were also trying to like reach out to old like SpongeBob fans, like
nostalgia.
Yeah, basically that's why like the first like opening of the movie, the opening of the movie was like a throwback to how it like usually is in the SpongeBob cartoons, and then it goes into being more of like being more like of a movie that like you would watch with your family
with a plot and like
exactly like that's deeper and that's more like enhanced, and like it even had a little bit of adult jokes. Because remember like the scene where
time travel.
No, the scene where Patrick, remember, was like looking and wasn't like engaged, and it showed this pretty woman, and then we were like, "Oh, Patrick, what are you doing?" And then
ice cream.
He was looking at the ice cream, like that adult aspect to it. Like it would be funny to a kid. The kid might not understand it, but as an adult, you would be like, oh, "That's a joke."
It's definitely funny to adults.
Exactly, but that's not the usual SpongeBob humor.
Exactly.
So they're expanding that humor so that older SpongeBob fans would still have like get a laugh out of it, but at the same time it's still in line with like the younger audience.
And there's one remember that one scene where they're time traveling, and so they're time traveling and it feels as if they're on certain substances. From the animation style you can infer that. So definitely those jokes,
definitely that
the kid would not have understood that.
Obviously a kid would just think it's just silly art or whatever. But as an adult you're like questioning what's going on, what's really in those Krabby Patties. Because to me it looks like it kind of feel like withdrawal symptoms, you know what I mean? It's maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but like at the same time it's like it just expands into like that, you know, like hitting double meaning of a joke. You know
I mean, for an adult, it's not even that like. I mean, we'll just talk about it explicitly because it's not even that hard to tell. Like they have widened eyes, as if they're under influence of a certain substance. You know, they're not really focusing. They're out of the zone. So I know, like it's pretty obvious that the filmmakers did that intentionally. And I mean, this isn't just SpongeBob. While it is unique to SpongeBob, and SpongeBob has always had their styles ever since, like its unique style since its inception. Like all filmmakers do that, whether it's kind of political references or I remember in the Harry Potter movies there was some perhaps sexual undertones that were meant as adult humor for the people accompanying their kids to their movies. If speaking of other movies, what do you think about like other SpongeBob movies? Because there is the first one, SpongeBob SquarePants movie 2004, where I'm pretty sure Mr. Krabs was accused of stealing King Neptune's
the crown.
And then there's the one in Sponge on the Run where King Neptune runs out of snails, which are part of his beauty routine. So like I honestly remember the 2021 better, but I watched both and like I just wanted to know like what you thought about that because they are SpongeBob movies.
Yeah, but I think while they're SpongeBob movies, they still just stick to the traditional like SpongeBob theme and like way of like it's kind of like to me it felt just like a longer like SpongeBob episode.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It technically
4 or 5 good ones.
Yeah, about, and I think like even though SpongeBob like SquarePants movie like the one with the King Neptune crown, he has to retrieve it when like I think this is when Plankton took over the city or whatever, right? To me, like even though he technically did go out of water, it didn't have the same elements. To me, it still just felt like a regular SpongeBob episode, and I think that this one, SpongeBob Out of Water, they definitely revolutionized the way like a SpongeBob movie should be or would be, and I think they definitely did a better job than the previous SpongeBob. I mean, the previous SpongeBob movies were still good, but I think this one just took it up a notch. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, because like the first SpongeBob movie, it was kind of just like a very extended episode.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing new. But then that was in 2004. Then the last Sponge on the Run movie, they completely changed the animation style 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they were still in the water, it doesn't feel anything like a SpongeBob episode. That's for the third one, yeah, right?
Yeah.
But Sponge on the Run has got like the perfect mix of both. You know, the classic animation style, but then you have the out of the water and the 3D animations when they're out of the water, because it is 2D when they're still in the water.
Yeah.
So it was like nostalgic, but then like you got a bit of modernity, which is a question always.
Okay, so going on to our final questions, but like you were just talking about the 2D 3D shift of the movie. Why do you think that was effective? Because like to me that was the main difference between this SpongeBob movie and the others. You see this shift, and like especially when they turn into superheroes, and to me it was a bit different. It was a lot different, but I thought it was very creative, and I thought it definitely added to like the aspects of the movie. Like it was very engaging. Why do you think they did that?
I mean, to be honest, I'm thinking of it from like a production perspective, I would say. I mean, I don't think it would have really like stuck well if they were still 2D out with like real humans, because real humans were in the video. But like, can I be honest with you, and I'll give you my hot take. I did not enjoy it that much.
You didn't?
Because I'm a nostalgic guy, I like the originals, but like, as far as 3D movies go, like it's still SpongeBob. It's still a good movie. So like, I have mixed thoughts about it.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, I understand your aspect of it, but I personally enjoyed it because I just really enjoy like 3D movies a lot, and so I feel like them expanding into that space. I mean, I feel like for the first time they did it really effectively, and I think it not only brought out more humor to it, it also just made it more relatable to people that don't usually watch SpongeBob episodes, because you wouldn't see like someone that's in their 20, like 22, 24, even older than let's say 14 watching SpongeBob. But like the movie, like I heard adults talking about the SpongeBob movie, ironically, because to me it wasn't just another SpongeBob episode that you watch with your kids. It's something that was like pretty engaging, and even like adult like audience could relate to. So I think overall, what would you give the movie 1 out of 10 overall?
Solid 7.9.
7.9. Okay, I'll give it an 8.
I'll give it an 8.
A solid 8. It's just a point. But I'll give it an 8. It's still a good movie, but anyways, guys, there you have it. SpongeBob Out of Water, really good movie. You should check it out for yourself. You should let us know what you thought of it. Send us an email, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the movie. Let us know what you enjoyed. Let us know what you didn't enjoy. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Yeah?
You better hit that subscribe button.
Of course. Always hit that subscribe button. Anyways, till next time.